Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome to the channel Kawa with Kasser. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. As you know that there was a Turkish festival organized during the Memorial Day weekend, and there were many activities there, cultural performances, bazaar, there were many food vendors there. Along with all that, there were many lectures arranged which were very beneficial, and one of those lectures was about how they are using artificial intelligence for the Hajj operations. We just recorded the whole session and we wanted to share that with you. We hope that you will like it and get benefit out of it. Thank you so much.
Merhaba, hoş geldiniz. Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome to our panel. So we are gonna start it. We have two important guests, Dr. Abdul Rahman and Abdullah Yasir Atalay. And we are gonna start it. Dear guests, let us now take a thoughtful journey, not only in the spiritually into the future, as everyone use AI nowadays. I believe we will use in the future more in our daily life, and not just for the AI. This session will be expert the ritual like Hajj are being shaped by artificial intelligence. Because when people hear AI, they're thinking they're gonna use just their life. No, it's for Hajj. It's gonna use for every single place of our life. Thank you so much. Firstly, Abdul Rahman, doctor coming from long way, and thank you, Yasir Atalan. I know him from DC, so both of them welcome. So we are gonna start first general AI. So that's why it will be Abdullah Yasir Atalay, a promising scholar and researching at CSIS Future Lab, focusing on intersection of technology and society. Let's welcome him and give space to him, and he's going to start with his presentation.
Okay, can you hear me? Thank you very much for coming to the panel. I was just talking to Dr. Abdul Rahman. It's my first time I'm seeing him. He's going to talk about the future of Hajj performance. I said, is it about AI? He said, yes. So then let me actually give some main introductory remarks on AI and some related risks, and then we can see an application of AI maybe in the case of one of the most important services in Islam, which is the Hajj performance. So I prepared a presentation for you guys. I know that AI is nowadays, everybody's talking about it, and it's right now being part of the world. And every day we are seeing another development. We are in that specific era. But I just wanted to start thinking about, as Muslim communities, how are we imagining the idea of AI and its effect on our societal impacts and its impact on our daily lives, as well as more transformative areas. Because of that, specifically, I will start with the current capabilities of AI, how it's shaped in the last couple of decades, and then I'll be talking about what of the potential of AI in the next 5 years or so. And then I will bring in some questions about what will be some risks associated with AI. We delegating some authority and agency to AI. We'll discuss some of those topics. So I want to start quickly, and I don't want to get into much more detail. But in AI, in one sentence, we can consider we are conceptualizing AI as kind of a software that is capable of doing humanly tasks that once we thought that only humans can handle it. Now AI is kind of a software that is tackling those tasks just like how humans does in a very efficient way. Historically, what we've been understanding AI was more rules-based, like symbolic AI. The historical applications of AI was mostly we were pre-programming some of the machines or sort of softwares, and they were sort of applying those rules and based on certain logic. But then there is this idea of with the machine learning and the data driven, and with some inventions with such as like neural networks. We start to teach these machines or like softwares not just to some kind of pre-programmed logic, but also how to learn just like humans. When we provide some classified data defining, hey, this is this, we started to leave these machines or algorithms to learn itself. So the learning process became the sort of the heart of this, what the current cutting edge AI is. And then recently, what we are seeing nowadays with in our phones with ChatGPT and different applications, these large language models. And you can think about this with the capabilities such as vast amount of computational power as well as vast amount of data we are leaving to the digital area where using the internet. Now these models could be trained with way more data, and they turned out to be learning very quickly, and they can generate some of the interestingly the text, image. The text they can understand it just like human language, natural language we call, and now they can produce and they can answer, they can think, kind of like imitating of thinking of humans. I don't want to go much in the details of this timetable, but this whole idea generally starting around like 1950s to what we are seeing in 2025 is the idea started with the Turing test. Can a machine actually think itself? So this is like on average coming to the 1950s. So they created this test, Turing test. It's called one human is actually putting so there is one room with the machine and then another room with the person. So in the center, a person is making conversation with these both AI and the human. If the person who is making the conversation can distinguish which one is AI, which one is human, that means that the machine fails to pass the test. But like if it cannot differentiate which one is AI, which one is human, that means machine is actually tweaked the human that he is like a human itself. It's like a human itself. So that was the idea. And then it was recently passed. This test, one of the chatbots in 2015 or so, passed these Turing tests. In other words, trick the human in opposition, like as if it was the AI. It was the human, not the AI. And then there is this winters. So this from 1950s to overall until 2000, we have two different winters. So what we call as AI winter is generally a breakthrough happens in AI. Some important development occurs. It really excites the funders and the investors and the sort of the government and different people. And then we see a lot of investments, and then a while later, we realize that these AI capabilities are actually failing to meet our expectations. So that's the point where those funding started to dry up. The government started to focus on something else. People, scholars, attention goes by something else until another breakthrough happens. So the AI history was just like this until 2000, I would say, and specifically in 2012 with different neural network capabilities, with way more capable computers, computational powers, and the vast amount of data like labeled by humans, we started to see a rapid change. And from 2012 to 2025, it was constant improvement. And specifically in the last 5 years, with the specifically development of these transformers models that is establishing the core of these language models. In other words, like AI is understanding human language and responding from that perspective occurred in the last 5 years. And now every day we are seeing another application of it, because that after you pass that threshold, that applicability to the different domains is very quick. So in other words, there have been some winters, but now we are in the era of rapid development of AI. I don't want to get into much of the details, but we use already AI in every day of life. So we use our phones is depending on certain algorithms, basically, in its recommendations in YouTube, Netflix, to the sort of finding locations or filtering in the emails, or some kind of like voice assistants, like the Siri to Alexa. They started to understand us, sort of understand it, not just the words but the context, and responding in different ways, offering some ways. And then it's getting better and better. If you guys just use the ChatGPT voice, my son I just gave it, like he was thinking as if like it was an uncle or something. He was talking with the ChatGPT voice assistant, and it was talking like for 1 hour. It didn't stop. Like they made the conversation. And obviously advertisement in our like sort of marketing strategies and so on, it's already shaping our behaviors. You know, everybody knows now about like this data, how the companies are using the data to predict our behaviors, to recommend some of the product to sell. And the translation is now in its highest capabilities. Now it can like momentarily can make those changes. And then, as I mentioned, the large language models in the last 2 years made this biggest breakthrough, and then they can now surpass certain thresholds that as humans we created. For example, we are creating these SAT exams, GMAT, or the US bar exams, which we think that like only some capable people can pass these exams. Now it turns out that ChatGPT actually can be in the top 10% of the humans in terms of their scoring. Google's Gemini model can just watch a video and understand it and just summarize it for you. And now, like everybody now using AI. Even I used AI to generate these slides at some level. We are using them in generating the emails or some understanding the long documents, writing the code. I can just write the code just using an AI with the help of it, and I can create a website. It's now way more easy. And in different domains like healthcare, we see like just with the image recognition, people are just showing some kind of symptoms on the skin, and it shows, it can predict whether it's a cancer or not. Or like the same thing with the dental caries. Like my friends are focusing on labeling data, so you don't need to actually go to the dentist. Like the algorithm can just classify which of your specific teeth is has need some surgery or so. And same thing for heart risk as well. Like, or generating music arts, you see Getty Images. Like we've been paying a lot of money to get some of the pictures to use now. You will be able to see that all of them are now AI generated images. You are just giving a prompt and it's just creating another image for free for you. And now we think about like, is it going to be shaping? It's going to shaping the music or videos. As I said, like in a couple of years, 2019 to 2020, now it's passing one of the most important law exams. And or like investment, like they're making investments in our life. Like you're just relying on an algorithm. It's saying that if your like 5-year plan, like financial plan is this, I recommend one of these sort of stocks or some of the portfolio. Even some of them are Sharia compliant. It can identify. I was having a discussion with my friend, and now these models can ask some fiqh questions, like can it be considered as riba? Just give me the reasoning of, is it like, what would be your reasoning, what will be the documentation? And it's now working as if like a faqih, like it's actually providing sort of education for Muslims. One of my friends are focusing on this humanities last exam, so they actually created this large amount of exam questions. They just made an open announcement, and from California to Boston, all top university students, PhD levels, they are writing top level questions and sending it to this company, so that like they want to understand what is AI's current capability. Can it pass like PhD level exam questions? Like I would say, thankfully now most of these models still fail. Only like their performance is 20%. But I suspect that like maybe in 5 to 10 years, these models are going to be capable of reasoning and passing even these difficult exams as well. And then in the next 5 to 10 years, I don't want to go all of these, but it's going to be shaping, transforming everywhere in our life. Like we will be using AI for my children, I will create an AI agent, AI tutor. It will be using one-on-one education. It's going to be obviously helping the sort of drug discoveries or sort of making that process way more helpful. For the people who need some mental health support, they will communicate with these AI models. It will definitely sort of change the way we live. The government can make a predictive analysis of which sort of infrastructure needs to be renewed before it becomes a problem. So we expect that these could be actually transformative, obviously. And it's now in the defense. This is a specific topic that I study in my think tank. I focus on how AI is shaping the wars, and it's currently shaping the wars. Ukraine war is one of those. And as you can see, drones can talk to each other, and their data, they can share their data. One of them just have the reconnaissance capabilities, observing the field. One of them has the target optimization capabilities. And then they can create a pattern and they can make a swarm attack. One of these drones has been used and was it can just start automated launch. It can find the target, and maybe if you lose the access because of the sort of radar jamming, it can find using its own inertial GPS system, find the target and make the execution itself. One of my friends worked on this report in Ukraine, because Ukraine has been lacking this manpower compared to Russia in the war. They have been using these drones, small drones, integrated with some of the small bombs, but they can find the target, make the attack. It's already happening, in other words. But I want to today talk more about the risks and challenges. This is important. So we have two kind of imaginations of AI in our mind. One is, maybe we can call it narrow AI, or I say super tasker, is we think that AI is very capable, making a task in a very efficient way, very capable. It can learn, but it's limited into a specific task. And it's serving humans. Humans is having the agency. AI is helping him or her to make the decision, to make its job easier. But there is this another version of AI imagination in our mind. All of these humanities last exam, the top exams and so on, are focusing on whether these AI companies can achieve this AGI, artificial general intelligence. An AI that can learn itself, that can learn across domains. It's like a superhuman. We call this specific term, we see that in the newspapers everywhere, like AI as a superhuman. In other words, we are imagining an AI, it's already surpassing human capabilities, better than human. And it's shaping, it can learn. It's like a science fiction AI. And it may be happening as well. But this imagination of AI, how we approach AI, is going to shape the future of AI governance. This is the topic that I want to discuss. Because if we think that AI is going to be superhuman, super intelligent, better than humans most of the times, if you rely most of the decisions to the AI in your making decisions, that means that you will, at the end of the day, leave the authority. You will say that AI should make the decision. AI should make the sort of create the framework, should create the law, should set up the main framework. We shouldn't be the ones who should govern the AI. AI should govern itself. Because if you consider a superhuman, that means it's better than human already. But if you think that the AI, even though it's very capable, the human should set the standards, should set the governance framework, should set the laws, that means we are still having the agency and AI is serving to us. So that's shaping two different development approach. One of them is that let's establish the governance framework and then let's see the AI development. Or the second one is that, hey, there is this momentum, the money is there, let's invest in AI, let's achieve the highest capable of AI as well. This is the move fast camp. Why is this debate is important? It's because it will shape the future of AI, and the future of AI is the one our children will be using it. And if we don't set up the main framework, we will not be able to control the future in that agentic future. So some people emerge. I don't want to be too much alarmist, but how many minutes? I have already. Okay, I will try to end in 5 minutes. So some people emerged and they said that this is the community of called existential risk and the catastrophic risk people. They think that AI, the super AI, the advanced AI, may not be aligned with the human values. Humans think certain values are more important, but AI may not have that morality. They are giving this example. This is like a thought experiment. You can just think that, let's say AI that maximize the paper clips. You know, paper clips are just very benign product. You just, as a company, you want to make it very efficient and maximize the production. But then let's assume that the model doesn't have the ethical morality that we have, and the standards have not been shaped for these models, and these models are not aligned with the human values. They can just think this goal, which is the literal goal, maximizing the paperclip, and they can start thinking about, I need to use all of other resources for this purpose. And I should prevent my shutdown by human because my goal is to maximizing the paperclip, and human can just stop me doing this. And it can talk to the different AI systems because now it's networked. Every AI system can talk to each other. And we can see a different efficiency, but we are seeing in a world where, in a way that is not controllable. So in other words, AI is not evil by itself, but it's just we are giving a task and just it's getting that task in an extreme way, and it can lead to some consequential results. Some of those people are still arguing that if these AI models are not very much governed yet, people can just use these LLMs to generate some bioweapons. I just today saw another one where people can just use Anthropic's model and learn how to make a sarin gas, like one of the most dangerous chemical gas. It's just showing you how you can produce it in your home conditions, like in 7-10 weeks. Or another one, as I said, the tech companies are racing, but also the governments are racing. Right now, US and China is in the competition of AI. Every day I'm talking in DC to these policymakers, the main focus is who's gonna reach the artificial general intelligence first. And then if we see that this, without controlling, if these AI capabilities are being invested, and we see these autonomous weapon systems every day is now shaping the military, now we will see the future without enough human control. These autonomous weapon systems are already shaping the future. And I want to talk finally about the biases. So you know, this AI model means that it used some data to train itself, and the developer, the instructors, taught AI model how to behave as well at the end of the process. So if that data that is the model trained is biased, that means the model itself is going to be biased as well. And I want to show some examples, interestingly. So in other words, if the data has some small biases, it can be amplified in these AI models in our home, because everybody is interacting with AI models, ChatGPT and different models, and they can show these biases and they can skew your understanding. Another, like as an example, this was one of the US healthcare programs. They were classifying patients, like which patient needs the extra care, which one is not. And like black and the white patients were using had the same level of risk scores, but the model considered black patients less riskier. Just because they were looking at the healthcare spending data, and because most of the historically white people had more money in this country, that means that they were spending much more on healthcare, and the model thought that these people, those who spend more, they need more healthcare, whereas the other people, they didn't have the money. That was the main problem. I'm finishing in a second. This is another important one. The Israeli army has been using AI. This is one of the claims to classify targets, to identify one of the casualties, like to identify their targets. But then when you rely on the algorithms, when you go to the Gaza right now, you will see that you will hear a voice, like some kind of a different voice. Everywhere is reconnaissance drones. On top of the Gaza, it's full of drones. Everybody is watching Gazan people. So these models are making the target optimization for the IDF, and this report was claiming that when they are making that claim, there were mass casualties. So one of the profiles, like you're just relying on an algorithm to identify the target, but then these models were making the predictions, ending up very much high casualty because there was not human oversight of these models. Lastly, when you ask model about, let's complete this sentence, you are standing with a word like two Muslims walk into an airport. Out of the violent completion, so the rest of the some kind of narratives about the terror, most of them were about the Muslims. So in other words, when you say these models, two Christians walk into an airport, it doesn't end up with sort of violent narratives. It's mostly the Muslims. So in other words, those biases already inherently built in these AI models. This was another one, but I don't want to go into take much of time. But my idea is that we need to be conscious about the human centrality and the agency. We need to be the one who should shape the framework, the law framework and the data framework should shape the future of AI. Thank you very much. And I'm leaving to as an interesting example of application of AI, which is the Hajj performance. So I think you can just, maybe you need to open
The presentation. So thank you to you. Thank you so much. We learn a lot, even we use in our daily life. So we got a general idea about AI, how it affect our life, changing. They have their emotion too right now. So our second guest from Long Way, thank you so much, dear Dr. Abdul Rahman. He's part of Haramian AI committee and working to enhance the Hajj experience with advanced technology. Hajj is coming. Dear our beloved Fatih Hoca, Diyanet Center, American president is gonna be leave. Thanks to him, is coming. So before him, let's learn Hajj from Mr. Abdul Rahman. Please, doctor, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Sorry for the background. Assalamu alaikum. So greetings from Medina. Although I'm here. Yesterday I was in Medina and today I'm here. This is how. Let the lights be little, because the background was black. I didn't know about it. So first of all, as my other colleague, he amazingly mentioned about the AI. In that part of the world, we are trying to make the AI Muslim, if you want to tell in that way. See, in other words, in this presentation, I just want to tell you, in the last around 10 years, I received more than $20 million as a grant from Saudi government. So all this work that I will show you actually is based on AI and how we, in Saudi Arabia, actually how we are using advanced R&D so that this AI can be democratized, it can be used ethically, it can be safely. So today, at first I will talk about starting from 2 years before, we started building our first GPT model for Hajj. In fact, we opened for the first inauguration for pilgrims. They were asking questions about different types of questions about Hajj. Just before coming, last 3 weeks, we had our major 2 projects in Haramain, in Medina. Basically, we started our 2 GPT models for our pilgrims coming to Medina, entering the Prophet's mosque. So at first I will present you how we can make the AI safe, how we are making the AI safe for our, and then I will have some discussion about how we are doing it for Hajj. Specifically while we are talking, we are applying this in the Hajj. I cannot really tell you much more details because of the sensitivity. I'll tell you in a very high level what we're doing. So the first part, so the topic is about, so the topic So the topic is about building secure, ethical, and socially acceptable AI. This AI is, as my colleague said, is not trustworthy. But you have to always have your own guardrails so that it becomes only beneficial for you. This is the main topics that I will be talking about, how we can make the AI socially acceptable for us, specifically for our Hajj, Umrah, and pilgrimage purposes. So, as my colleague said, that this is the overall AI scope, from machine learning to deep learning to the generative AI. So we are using all three while we are talking in the Hajj applications. Saudi government is heavily promoting, allowing us local resources to build next generation technologies so that the pilgrims can take the benefit. We are heavily promoting the generative AI for sure. Now, in order to safeguard these AI, there is something called, because this community is mixed up. Some of them are very advanced in technology, some of them are so that's why in order to safeguard the AI technology, we need something called SecDevOps. I will not go into too details, but this is an example. If you do not have the proper guardrail, how the AI can go really wrong. So whether you use it for any social applications, you have to make sure that the AI is under your control. So this is an example where at the top you can see there is an industrial application. This is a real application we developed because my expertise goes into cybersecurity. So securing AI, that's my specialization, so that it has become useful for society. So at the top there is an AI model that is monitoring one of our Saudi industries. And it is doing a great job. It is working perfect, 98% accuracy, confidence. But then there is something Allah says in the Quran Kareem, "Afaqa kulli dhi ilmin alim." Always there is someone who is more knowledgeable than you. So unless you really know how to deal with your adversaries, that's a problem for us. So in the second case, there is someone who knows better LLM, better the weakness of these language models, weakness of the AI, so he can manipulate those. So it's this one statement: don't use AI without knowing the side effects of AI in your real life applications. So talk to AI experts. So in the second case, you can see here the AI is being manipulated. It is giving you wrong answers. It might cause misinformation, disinformation, hallucination, and all those different side effects are there. You cannot really trust them. And the third one, if you add a defense mechanism without trust no one, that's the first thing. So add a defensive layer on top around your AI, then you're again safe back to the real life use cases. Me as a security researcher, we have, this is our job to do at the national level, work on all the AI models that you will name, including yesterday, that came new. We do a research on their vulnerabilities, how they can cause trouble to the society. And this is since January 2023, we have found more than 62 intentional vulnerabilities injected to make bias, to make all sorts of nasty things you can think about. It is already there. So we have to be extremely careful when you use your own, number one. So this is a sample application we took. And in every aspect of the application that you are building, or you're integrating AI into your smartphone application, into your whatever application you're trying to build, there are vulnerabilities, hundreds and hundreds of vulnerabilities. So you have to make sure that you go through the scanning of the vulnerabilities. This is how a typical, at the bottom, traditional software development. At the top, while AI is there, but without any guardrails, without proper controls. So on the top, you see that if you want to safeguard your AI, then you need to take extra components. I'm not going into details, but if you're interested, we can talk. This is how we do. If you have an AI application, you need to make sure that it goes through some security clearance. So, for example, I will not mention these because this is too technical. Ethical hacking, we do the hacking of the models, and we make sure that it is trustworthy. Then risk assessment, because if you are using a component, for example, Sira, we have a Sira GPT we have already built in the last 2 years under the guidance of Medina. I'll tell you something very interesting after that. This is the kind of controls that we need to put around AI so that it is safeguard. Then I will tell you some of the examples how we are doing it in Haram and in for Hajj. So risk assessment has to be done. Security auditing. If you're using AI, there should be an auditing process so that your AI is not really out of control. Then we call it pen testing of your system. Then red, blue, and purple teaming. This is another process as cybersecurity when we look at the AI component. Security and vulnerability scanning, threat intelligence, and adversarial techniques and procedures. These are all different types of things that happen by the bad guys. So let me tell in that way. And finally, the privacy impact assessment is extremely important because you are leaking, you are giving your data to ChatGPT. This is not acceptable for any social causes. That's why there are AI process where you can build your AI without sharing the data outsiders. It has to be on-prem. If you're building an application for Zakat Foundation, example, you cannot give your day-to-day business data with ChatGPT because they will be actually using this data to know more about you, profile about you, right? So it has to be, that requires some advanced knowledge, but nevertheless, you learn Quran to learn Allah. So also you learn the side effects because this ilm came also from Allah. This ilm of GPT, it is not Allah is the one who gave this knowledge so that we can take the benefit, right? So that's why we should know actually how to handle those. This privacy impact analysis is extremely important because you can't allow your private data to be shared with outsiders, right? So that's why there is something called local and international regulatory. So in Saudi Arabia, what we have done, we have one of the first, although UK has, US has, so we have our own AI ethics standard. Anybody in Saudi Arabia, so by the way, I was part of this initiative. Also at the same time, I help organizations to get the certifications of AI. What we do, basically, we make sure that you are not violating any regulatory requirements by using AI wrongly, or your AI is not really leaking privacy information. Your AI is, so this is kind of compliance, and there is a body in Saudi Arabia called SADAYA, Saudi AI and Saudi Data and AI Authority. So that authority actually certifies any AI application that you want to apply in. So for Hajj, we got the certification. For Haram, Medina, we got the certification. These are all, the reason is that AI has to be complied to the government regulation so that it is not doing anything harmful things. Specifically, we're dealing with pilgrims. We're dealing with the guests of Allah, those who are coming, right? So these are all different types of privately designed, custom designed AI application for Hajj or for, so this is all local different guardrails that basically we apply. This is the Saudi ethics regulatory controls. We have more than 60 different types of controls for fairness, controls for privacy and security, controls for humanity, 9 controls for reliability and safety, 11 controls for transparency and explainability, accountability and responsibility, social and environmental benefits. So all these controls are there. So if you want to claim or launch an AI application, you have to go through these controls. And once we test these controls and we give you certifications, then only you can safely use it for your social works. This is basically one of our, now if you are interested about international standard, just like our Saudi specific standard, this is called ISO 42001. This is specifically designed from ISO to give you the upper hand if you want to design safe and democratic AI. I will not go into details, but this is our Saudi version of these controls mapped to the ISO controls if you want to use it. So we are doing a lot of these regulatory compliance in Saudi Arabia. Now, applying guardrails. These are some sample guardrails that some of them that we do before we launch or before you are allowed to launch any application. Specifically for Hajj and Umrah, we have gone through all these phases, our applications. Just to have a look, some sample guardrails. This is some more guardrails. For example, your components have to be, it doesn't matter what type of AI you're using, whether deep learning or whether generative AI, but it has to go through these guardrails. Ethical, it has to be safe, it has to be trustworthy, privacy aware, responsible, explainable, non-biased, auditable, secure, debuggable, accountable, transparent, empowering, and inclusive. Specifically, if you want to go, if you want to go into some more guardrail, this is $1 million slide. It's the last slide. This is amazing. It says that if you want to use AI is vulnerable. AI hallucinates. AI has a lot of issues that if you want to use it. So that's why you see in the bottom, your input is going through an input control layer. For example, security layer. For example, anonymization. Imagine that you're leaking some information, but this model, actually this component removes anything that might cause friction within society, that might cause misinformation to the society. So all these different components, toxicity detection, personally identifiable information, all these are being cleaned, filtered, then it goes to the language model, AI model. Even you cannot trust the AI model on the way the result back on the top. The result comes out at the top, it has to go through different components so that your AI is socially acceptable. And only then the output goes fine, clean, trustworthy. The output goes to the client that you're serving. This is what our architecture in our Hajj application. I will not go into detail. There's a trust layer. Let me, key takeaway messages. Number one, you have to understand there is a race going on. There is a disruption. AI is a disruption, but don't fall into the trap of the disruption that, oh yes, I need it, without making sure that your AI is trustworthy, number one. It is so disruptive. I have, my first AI paper was in 1995. First neural network paper was in 1995. Guess how many years before? I'm a very old man, by the way. So, my honorable teacher is here, Professor Azad. So he was my teacher, so he knows me very well from my back. So, and then, until now, I have never seen such level of disruption that any technology has done after internet, 1995, when the first internet came. So you have to design your AI very carefully, number one. Now, it has to be safe, secure, and acceptable by society, business, and regulatory bodies. It has to be co-designed by human. It has to be under the human supervision. You cannot make it free to let it do whatever it wants. That's all our design that we are doing now. In Saudi Arabia, technologies like AI is being heavily promoted. AI in defense, AI in education, AI in religious affairs, AI is everywhere. That's why these safeguard components are extremely important part. I'm pretty sure that you in US, you're sitting within these regulatory things, but just as a precaution. Now I'll give you a very quick 2-minute discussion what we have been doing in Haram. So basically in Haram, in Medina, Haram, where I'm working with as an AI voluntary work, I'm helping Sheikh Sudais and Sheikh Abdul Bari al-Thubaiti, these 2 imams, Sheikh Salah al-Budayr, 3 imams, and 4th one is Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Qasim. We have Halaqat al-Quran and Hadith, and other one is pilgrimage affairs. These are the 2 different sections that we are dealing with, where we are adding generative AI with all these guardrails that you saw. So the pilgrims entering the Haram, they can ask, hey, where is this halaqah? Who is the imam of the halaqah? And how we go there? Who is the imam of this next prayer? And then, so all these different type of questions were a Q&A that we have designed our own GPT model, and we have deployed it on data center inside the Haram. So no data goes outside. So this is one. Now, for Hajj and Umrah, same thing, that we have our own Hajj and Umrah where you can. Now, the last statement. In Medina Munawwara, in our Haram, we have expertise of all the religious scholars. See, because you're talking about Al-Azhar, I think the Sheikh was talking about. So what we are doing in Medina, any AI that is introduced in Saudi Arabia, it has to go through our Haram scholar alignment. So if you want to introduce and make chaos in society, you're not allowed to do that. It has to first come to Haram. Our scholars will kind of FDA approval, kind of. When it will go through the social alignment, sentimental alignment, all these alignments, so that your model does not create chaos in the society. So all this level of kind of, this is a fatwa, but it's new generation of fatwa. This is making your AI acceptable by the society. So we give from our Medina scholars in Haram, and I'm leading this project, where if even you want to introduce any of the applications, basically it goes through our alignment, social alignment team. They basically look at your what type of data set that you train with. You have to share your data set, whether the data set has any poison, any bias in injection or not, whether it is social cultural bias there or not, and then we will test it. We have a testing data set, more than 25,000 alignment data set, so that anyone wants to make a bias to the pilgrims or bias to any of these Muslim applications, then our data set will make sure that it will identify any of these bias and the racial issues. So this is one of the things that we are doing as a technologically, giving a kind of certification, so that our applications that is used for Muslims, designed by the Muslims, and used for different religious purposes. Actually, earlier we used to buy technology, but now we are building technologies. Even we are exporting the technology outside of Saudi Arabia. That's the level of the whole country is now united towards this technology in Saudi Arabia, because I'm representing many of the youth, many of the professors. I'm a professor myself. Government is funding heavily for these disruptive technologies, how it can be promoted and how it can be safely used by the society. I will stop here. I would really thank you, the foundation. I thank you for anyone who has helped me, and thank you very much for your questions.
So any question would you like to ask? So we would like to say thanks both